Hey, what's up, guys? We have so many updates to share with you this week. I'm not going to be able to jump into screen share. We've got 2 or 3 weeks worth of updates. HighLevel has not been sleeping, even if we have, on getting you the updates. So stay tuned. Your weekly breakdown is coming right up. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Michael McAllister with Empower LO. This week, as I said, we've got a lot of updates to share with you. I even tried ahead of time trying to organize these into different categories. It was a nightmare. I'm just gonna run through these updates and hopefully you catch what is gonna be valuable for you. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Feel free to reach out to us directly if you have any questions on any of these updates. There are a lot of them, and like I said, there's not really gonna be a rhyme or reason to what order I go through. So yeah, with that being said, let's do this. All right, first update, pretty simple but pretty profound. You now have the ability with custom values to organize your custom values into folders. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, the difference between a custom value and a custom field is very important to understand. A custom value is something that you can customize that stays the same throughout your entire account, no matter what contact you're interacting with. So examples of this would be like your NMLS number, your branch address, your preferred review link or your preferred scheduling link, your social media links. Those types of things are not going to change based on the contact that you're interacting with, and that's what makes them a custom value, whereas a custom field is something that you customize at the contact level. So that would be more like the customer's social media profile links, right? If you had an Instagram link, Facebook link, LinkedIn link, and you were tracking all of those and you track those for all of your prospects, those would be custom fields, whereas a custom value is going to be your social media links in that case. So again, this feature is just the ability to organize these custom values a little bit better by organizing them into folders, which makes it align with the experience in a lot of other areas in HighLevel. All right, next up, we have an update to the task feature. The update is now you have the ability to create standalone tasks. So these are tasks that are not associated with a contact. This is a cool feature for those of you guys that want to live out of your CRM, which you should. If you're using Empower, if you're using HighLevel, your goal should be to be spending an hour or 2 productively inside your account every single day. Emphasis on productively. You can go down wormholes and you could be non-productive with that time for sure, but the goal should be getting to a point where you can spend an hour or 2 inside the account every day and have it be productive. Well, in order to do that effectively, we need to be able to have a task management system that doesn't depend on contacts. Otherwise, you're always going to have some other outside system to track your tasks and reminders. So now you have the ability to go into your task section, which is under contacts. If you go to contacts and then you go to tasks, you now have the ability to create a task and then have that task not be associated to a contact, so that if you have a simple task that is pipeline review every single week, you can put that on your calendar, you can put that inside of HighLevel, and you can live by your calendar in HighLevel by way of using that functionality. All right, next up, we've got a couple updates that I'm not going to go into detail about as far as communities go. A couple higher level notes as far they're improving notifications, they're improving community intake and being able to ask questions to community members when they apply to join your community. Things like that, things that, again, I haven't met a loan officer yet that is using the community's functionality. I'm excited at the idea. Anybody who's watching this who thinks that they have a use case for communities in their business, we want to hear about it and be a part of it. But until then, I'm not going to go too into detail as far as what these updates are. All right, next up, we've got a couple updates for dashboards inside your account. Now, I haven't talked a lot about this because dashboards are not something that you as a account user, or if you don't own your own agency, they're not things that you have the ability to customize yet. I highly doubt that this is going to stay this way. I'm very positive that you at some point are going to be able to have the ability as a account owner, as opposed to being an agency owner or admin, you will have the ability to customize your own dashboards inside your accounts. It's just a fairly new feature, and typically HighLevel is rolling that out in a way that minimizes the number of people banging down their door saying, hey, something is broken. And so in order to, one of the ways that they do that is they release features accessible to agency owners before they make it accessible to the account owner. So we, however, at Empower LO, we have the ability to set up custom dashboards for you. And so what I would invite you, if you are an Empower Elite member and you are watching this, I invite you to reach out to your success manager and say, hey, I want to set up a custom dashboard for my business. Even if you don't know exactly what that looks like right now, if you do not have a custom dashboard that you're looking at, let's start somewhere. Let's identify a couple things that you want to see every time you log in, and get rid of the old high-level dashboards that we all know are just not beneficial or impactful in our business at all as mortgage professionals. All right, so I said all of that, and then I didn't give you the actual updates for dashboards. So the updates, we have 2 updates. Number 1, you now have the ability to embed custom objects into your dashboard. And so you can do this either through a URL or through an iframe. So this means if you have a reporting software that you use outside of HighLevel, you have a spreadsheet with a list of names, whatever it is, there are now more things that we can do on the dashboard in order to pull that information in and not be dependent only on the things that HighLevel is doing in there. So same thing, right? If it's a video, if it's a call to action, if it's a reminder, if it's just a picture, right, where you want to log in every day and you want this picture right in there in the face telling you whether it's your dream board or whatever it is, you now have the ability to do pretty much whatever you want to with the dashboard, albeit right now it's through us that you're going to have to do that, or through your agency owner if you're not with us. However, know that coming down the pipeline, you're going to be able to adjust these things too. So start to develop your own opinion of what is it that you want to see every time you log into the system as the first thing that you see. All right, next up, we've got a kind of an interesting, quirky one that I think will make a massive difference to people that are power users, specifically of the email builder and of email templates. You now have the ability to do global styling of your links inside the email builder. So whereas before, links were just something that anytime you wanted to style a link. So for example, if you want to change the color of the link, if you want to bold it and underline it anytime you send a link, you would have to do that one by one on each link. You now have the ability to tell HighLevel, hey, I want this to be my style for links. Anytime I post a link, I want you to change the text to bold. I want you to change it to orange if you're Empower, right? I want to underline it, or I want to italicize it, or whatever it is. You tell it that you want these persistent instructions anytime you create a link inside the email builder, and it will automatically style those links to be more on brand with what you've defined as being your brand. All right, next up, a really cool feature for those of you that are starting to get your hands dirty, get your feet wet, hands dirty, both, whatever. For those of you that are starting to use the funnels and websites builder, we now have the ability to reference versions, restore from versions, as well as to save drafts of websites. Whereas before, it was the website's either draft or published. And if you save while it's published, then you're publishing it right then and there. You now have a separation between those two. You can save something, you can have a website that is in a published status, and then save a draft of the changes that you want to make, have somebody review it, do whatever you need, walk away, do whatever you need to do, have it saved, and then come back, pick up that draft where you left off, and then choose when you would like to publish that. So this is a pretty basic functionality in a lot of website builders out there. HighLevel, we know at the point that they're doing as many different things as they're doing, sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to implement some of these functions. They're waiting for clients of HighLevel and of HighLevel, the agencies of HighLevel. They're waiting for that feedback in order to implement these changes. This just happens to be one of those things, but now we're fixed. It's fixed. All right, next update coming from somebody who is not very social media knowledgeable, right? Instagram creator accounts are now available to post to from inside the social planner. Don't ask me what that means. I have no idea what the difference between an Instagram creator account and a regular Instagram account is. But if you had concerns about not being able to post to your Instagram creator account inside the social planner, those should now be alleviated. You are good to go. All right, next up is an update that was kind of highlighted as a means to highlight a feature that not very many people know about. There is a feature within reputation management inside your guys' accounts that allow you to automatically post your reviews as they come in, automatically post them to your social media profile as you come in. We're not using this currently. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea for us to use it. You guys have this ability to do this, and the update is that now you also have the ability to define a custom background, a custom image background, that anytime a review comes in, it'll slap it on top of that background and then post it. So rather than just being able to post to Facebook a plain text copy and paste version of the review that you got on Google, you now have the ability to make that a little bit nicer, throw it on a background, throw a background for the post, and style it up a little bit. All right, next up, we've got new templates live for you guys. New templates, they come from HighLevel. They're not coming from us, but we love them. We love to see them. They give us the option at the agency level to restrict what templates we want to give you access to. We don't. We say, great, the more the merrier. The more pre-loaded designs in here, the more inspiration you have when you go in and you want to create a landing page that's specific for something. The more inspiration you have, the easier it is for you to just plug into something that may already be done 80, 90% of the way for you. So we're really excited to announce there are even more templates that have been loaded for both funnels and websites, as well as surveys also. So custom surveys, you have a lot of new templates in there as well, so be sure to check them out. All right, next up, now when you are sending email campaigns, so this is not your workflows, right? And we gotta get on the same page as far as verbiage for a lot of these different things, right? If you send an email inside of a workflow, that is not the same thing as an email campaign. If you go into your account and you go to marketing and you go to emails, you'll have two options. You'll have campaigns and you'll have templates. Campaigns are one-off emails that you send out to your audience, and you can define what people within your audience you want to send those to. You can also set up split tests at the campaign level where you test different subject lines, you test different body content, and you measure the outcome of that test. Campaigns are a really good functionality for being able to do that. So now inside of email campaigns, you have the ability to select multiple different smart lists and or multiple different tags as a way to define who you want to send your email campaign to. Whereas before you needed to have a smart list that represented who you wanted to send an email campaign to, or you would have to send out multiple campaigns to define multiple different smart lists. You now have the ability in the email campaign builder to select as many different smart lists as you want to include on your email campaign. So cool feature, definitely gonna save us a lot of time in my opinion. All right, next up, you have a feature that needs to be enabled in labs. This is custom lost opportunity reasons, okay? So what this gives you the ability to do is it gives you the ability to define the different reasons why you might lose an opportunity. So what would these reasons be? You know, lost to competitor, lost to the market, right? They, not pre-qualified for enough. Whatever, they moved, they went, whatever it is, right? You have all these different reasons that you can track, and maybe it was the wrong number. Maybe you're using internet leads and you want to be able to track when it's a wrong number versus when somebody tells you to screw yourself. Like, if you want to track those different things, you now have the ability to define as many different lost reasons as you want to, and then automatically when you drag a lead into lost, which if you don't know how to do, just go to your pipeline, click and drag, click the empty space on one of your opportunities and start dragging. You'll see your pipeline stages across the top, and then you're gonna say 3 statuses at the bottom. A stage is different than a status. A stage is somebody's in an open category, an open status. I have an open opportunity and I wanna track their process throughout, I wanna track them throughout the sales process or whatever process I'm tracking. Okay, a status is saying, all right, this one's done, or this one's won, right? So you have won, abandoned, and lost as your 3 statuses at the bottom. If you drag it into lost, you should get a pop-up that asks you what was the reason that you lost that opportunity. You'll then get the ability to choose one of the custom options that you created. You might even get the opportunity at this point to create a new reason if the reason that you want to track is not listed there. And then now you can pull reports later on as far as who you're losing and why you're losing them. All right, next up, we have a Autoresponder functionality built into forms and surveys. So this is always something that we could trigger with a workflow, but there have kind of always been things that are way easier to execute in other CRMs because the functionality is not dependent on the workflows. So an example of this would be form and survey builder. It's very, like any form and survey builder has an option for you to define what you want your autoresponder email to be or what you want your notification email to be right then and there. So you'll have like a notification address where you put in your email address, boom, it's gonna send you, anytime you get a lead, submit that form, it's gonna send you a copy of their information. It's gonna say, hey, you got a new form submission from this individual, right? Pretty standard functionality you've had up to this point to replicate that by using workflows. There has not been an easy way to just make it so that anytime that submission happens, it just by default, it sends that email out. Now we do. Now you have the ability to do this both as an autoresponder and as a notification for when the lead form actually gets submitted. All right, guys, holy shit, take a breath because I'm not done yet. I wanted to reiterate again how much stuff is in here. and give you a little bit of a break. If the last 3 kind of toned out, give you a little bit of a break for a second before we dive into the next one. All right, next up, we have an enhanced email unsubscribe flow. Okay. Ultimately, where I think this is headed is being able to unsubscribe people from different campaigns based on their selection. So if I have 7 different campaigns that I run as a marketing company to my audience, and somebody wants to unsubscribe from hearing from me directly, maybe they don't want to unsubscribe from hearing from my company anytime HighLevel has an update. And so they would be able to do that. That functionality is not here yet. Instead, what we have is we just have unsubscribe reasons that is added to this flow, where now if somebody unsubscribes, clicks your unsubscribe link, they're going to be taken to a page where it's going to say, hey, why are you unsubscribing? They select that reason, and that information will be accessible through audit logs, which HighLevel was saying is going to help make it so that your email deliverability stays higher. All right, next up we have updates to course functionality. So again, not a ton of people that are using the memberships area or the courses area inside of HighLevel. However, if you are, you should notice some pretty serious UI improvements, some pretty serious interface improvements. They might be confusing at first. I would love to hear if you had access to something that you don't have access to anymore, or if you're confused on how to navigate this, we'd love to hear from you. But this is just for anybody who is using that functionality. Expect some changes. You've probably already seen them, but like I said, let us know if you have any questions on them. All right, next up, a very welcome update to the workflow if-else logic action specifically. So where you define what your different branches are and your different conditions are. They've massively improved this, where now you have the ability to reorder your branches. The default branch has always been called none, and there was nothing that you could do about it. So if you wanted to just have a really easy if else where one is one option and one is the other, one of those options had to say none. And that was really confusing at times when you're going back and you're trying to troubleshoot why a workflow didn't work correctly, to not be able to label what you actually want that path to represent. Kind of a pain in the butt. So now we have the ability to change that. If we want it to say none, it'll say none. If we wanted to say default, it'll say default. If we wanted to say not a first-time home buyer, it'll say not a first-time home buyer instead of yes, first-time home buyer, and none, which can get confusing depending on who's looking at it. All right, more UI enhancements and improvements for you HighLevelers. Conversations specifically, we have a lot of updates to that. I've got a long list. I'm actually gonna read from my screen, which I'm not typically doing. We have the grouping of action buttons. The buttons for archiving, starring, deleting, and marking as unread have all been grouped together. So this is gonna streamline the header. It's gonna make the header a little bit easier to interact with, a little bit less noisy up there. We have new designs for activity filters. If you haven't played around with filters and conversations, do. It's awesome. You can track whether you can filter your messages based on the last message direction. So you can look and see who are all the people that have sent me a message that I haven't responded to. You can flip that around and you can say, who are all the people that I've sent a message to and they haven't responded. You can filter that further by SMS or email. What was the last type of interaction that took place? Call, you can add that as well. So lots of cool functionality with the filters. New UI is going to make interacting with those filters even easier. You also have location-based time zones for activities. So basically, activities log inside of the conversation view now, right? You've probably noticed this already. If you move an opportunity from one stage to another, where there used to be nothing that would show up in your conversation log, you now see that as an activity log, so that you have all this information in one steady data stream, essentially. And so now we're using the location time zone instead of the browser time zone, or the time zone that the person looking at it is in, as a way to define what time these actions took place. Outside of that, just a couple other techie improvements that they added, bug fixes, etc. Nothing much more to speak to on that, but conversations have gotten a heavy UI enhancement over the last month. All right, last couple, I promise. Next up is kind of an exciting one, depending on what your situation is, what technology you already have within your tech stack or what's already integrated into your process. You now have the ability to use the contracts and proposals feature inside of HighLevel as a way to upload a PDF and collect a signature on it. So think disclosures that need a new signature, think letters of explanation, those types of things. I assume that most people watching this probably already have a solution that they use that's integrated into their workflow. If that is not the case, you now have one that's already built into your HighLevel account. Let us know if you have any questions on making that happen. All right, last update for you guys. This is an update to contact scoring or engagement scoring. HighLevel rolled out a lead scoring model inside of the accounts about a month ago now, and they're making updates to this. And so it looks like it's something that they're gonna be focused on for a while. This is something that's really cool, especially if you buy into the whole HighLevel ecosystem. If you host your website on HighLevel, if you run your email campaigns through HighLevel, driving them back to your website that's hosted on HighLevel, if you're interacting with your leads on HighLevel, right? This really becomes cool because now you get the ability to define, hey, if they open my email, I want to give them a point. If they send me a text message, I want to assign them 5 points, and create your own system for identifying the engagement of your audience, and hopefully allowing that to make it easier to convert leads, make it easier to target the leads that are actually going to give you the time, energy, and attention that you need in order to help them get where they're trying to go. So this is a really cool functionality. We are doing some stuff with lead scoring internally. We're not using HighLevel specifically because our use case is pretty different. A lot of our stuff is going to be based on how our clients are interacting with their HighLevel accounts, which makes the one that's built into HighLevel not really a solution for us. But we are very, very focused on engagement scoring this quarter. And so if you like the idea of this, please raise your hand, post something in our Facebook group, reach out to me directly. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this because this is top of mind for us. It's one of our rocks this quarter. If you're familiar with EOS, one of our rocks this quarter is for us to develop an engagement scoring model that helps our success managers help you even more. So like I said, if you have anything that you want to work on that, if you just have any questions or you have any ideas that you want to pitch, I would love to hear about them. All right, guys, that is it. This is probably the longest weekly breakdown we've ever done. It's because it kind of was more like a monthly breakdown this time, let's be honest, but that's all right. We all had better things to focus on than what's HighLevel doing over the last couple of weeks, but now you've got everything that you need to look at those updates, decide what you want to implement, and hit the ground running for 2024. Guys, if you haven't seen already, we're done with the Zoom rooms as they were before, okay? The Zoom rooms right now, or the Zoom rooms are not going to exist the way that they have going forward. Right now, we're kind of taking a break from it as a whole. Likely when it rolls back out again, it'll be something that is for Empower Elite members only. However, we still have the Facebook group. We're still going to be posting, we're still going to be posting content in the Facebook group. We're still answering your questions inside the Facebook group, but you need to be an Empower Elite member. And we're recognizing that more and more, that no matter how many of these free things that we're adding, the best value that you can get is by signing up to be an Empower Elite member. And so that's where all of our focus is. If you don't know what that means, then I want you to head over to empowerlo.com. I want you to book a strategy call with us, because all we're going to do on that call is we're going to identify where you're at, what made you decide that HighLevel is the right platform for you. Are you using HighLevel currently? Basically some basic discovery. And then from there, we're going to outline exactly what our Empower Elite members get as part of their membership with us, as well as introduce you to any other add-ons we might have that fit and benefit your business. So be sure to check that out, empowerlo.com. If you're going, hey, where the hell are the Zoom rooms gonna be? I'm gonna miss them. I didn't show up to them at all, but I watched the replays every time. If that's where you're at, then raise your hand or go to empowerlo.com, book a strategy call. But until then, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you at the top.